Hello, basketball people, we have news. Let's go to more news about the Golden State Warriors. I ask you to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as I am a Warriors fan. A great champion left the Warriors, but he's missed, and fans love Andrew Wiggins. And the NBA is very dynamic, and anything can happen, as there are already rumors that Wiggins will join the Warriors because the Utah Jazz are restructuring their entire roster. Wiggins is a perfect fit with Stephen Curry and Draymond Green and would be a great signing. As the Golden State Warriors have sought out a potential sign-and trade for restricted free agent Jonathan Kuminga this offseason, the Miami Heat were one of the parties that showed initial interest in Kuminga's services. Although it appears that the Warriors will attempt to retain Kuminga this offseason and trade him at a later date, the Heat's recent trade of Haywood Highsmith has signaled their intention to offload cap, opening up the possibility of a return to the Bay for fan-favorite forward Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins, 30, was initially traded from Golden State in the blockbuster Jimmy Butler deal at the trade deadline last season. Yet, as the Warriors seek out additional scorers, a return for Wiggins could be serendipitous. The Miami Heat could be dramatically reshaping their roster. As the Heat dealt with the drama that defined the end of Butler's tenure in Miami, they were clearly ready to move into the next era of their current roster, one centered around quality players in Bam Adebayo and Tyler Herro. Yet, after going 37-45 last season and getting trounced in the first round by the Cleveland Cavaliers, their front office has likely realized that their roster, as it is constructed, is not ready to compete. Thus, their recent trade of guard Haywood Highsmith to the Brooklyn Nets for only a protected second-round pick is a clear sign of their desire to dump cap, possibly with the intention of reconstructing their roster around Adebayo and Herro. Wiggins, who is entering his third year of a four-year, $109 million contract originally signed with the Warriors, could certainly be the next candidate to be moved from Miami. Through 17 games with the Heat last season, Wiggins averaged 19 points, 4.2 rebounds, and 3.3 assists, essentially continuing where he left off with Golden State. While Miami has signaled their intention to enter next season with Wiggins on the roster, it is still quite possible that they would be willing to move him around the trade deadline. Coincidentally, this is also the time where the Warriors would likely be shopping Kuminga yet again. While Golden State would need to include an additional piece to match salary in such a trade, Wiggins would bring a much-needed additional scoring force to the team's frontcourt, allowing them to stagger his minutes with Butler and introduce a new dimension to the team's offensive front. Therefore, while trading Wiggins was an unfortunate necessity given the price for Butler, bringing him back to the Bay could now become a possibility if the Heat continue to shed salary. Insider says there is easy solution for Jonathan Kuminga and Golden State Warriors. Jonathan Kuminga and the Golden State Warriors remain at an impasse regarding his contract situation, prompting an ESPN insider to propose a potential resolution. The standoff continues with neither side willing to compromise significantly. Jonathan Kuminga wants to leave and would happily join teams like Phoenix or Sacramento, both of which have shown interest. However, the Warriors rejected offers from both franchises, seeking valuable assets like first-round picks or players of Bobby Portis' caliber. Golden State attempted another approach by offering Kuminga a 2-year, $45 million contract. This time the young forward rejected their proposal, wanting more money and preferring no team option in the deal. Ramona Shelburne proposes extra year with player control for Jonathan Kuminga. The ping-pong situation persists without clear resolution in sight, leading ESPN insider Ramona Shelburne to suggest a compromise solution. Shelburne believes the Warriors should offer Kuminga an additional year with more player control over his future. This approach would provide both sides with elements they're seeking. I think he's going to be on the Warriors. And the only question is, how much are they paying him? I think there's an easy solution here, which is that the Warriors give him an extra year. It'll be like a 2+1, where he has a little more control, a little more guaranteed money, she explained. The proposal stems from viewing Kuminga as a long-term asset who could help transition the Warriors beyond their current aging core. A longer contract would provide security while addressing both parties' concerns. Golden State's roster features aging stars like Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green, making young talent increasingly valuable for future planning. Shelburne believes the Warriors' ownership think Kuminga is an untouchable building block. Shelburne revealed that Warriors' ownership considers Kuminga essential to their long-term vision despite the current contract disputes. And I do think the Warriors see him as somebody who's, if he wants to call it, a building block. I don't know if I would call it that, but somebody they want around for a long time, because they have 35-year-olds on their team, she noted. Owner Joe Lacob's personal attachment to Kuminga has prevented previous trade discussions according to Shelburne's reporting. On the other hand, Kuminga also needs to prove if he is worth it. I know the owner, Joe Lacob has told him this. He loves Jonathan Kuminga. He is the reason that they've never included him in trades, because they see the potential in him, she added. The question is not whether he's going to be back, but what kind of attitude is he going to have? This solution makes sense if Steve Kerr plans to give Kuminga a significant role in the rotation. However, it could create financial constraints preventing other roster improvements if the playing time doesn't materialize. The proposal could also serve as strategic positioning, allowing the Warriors to secure Kuminga on a longer deal before exploring trade opportunities with better leverage. The extended contract would potentially increase his trade value while providing roster flexibility. Latest Jonathan Kuminga report spells facts for Warriors. Jonathan Kuminga and the Golden State Warriors remain far apart in contract negotiations. Because there wasn't much money to spend around the NBA this offseason, restricted free agents didn't have much leverage in negotiations. However, the longer negotiations go on, the more leverage Kuminga gains, especially as the rumors start to spread of Kuminga being okay with accepting the qualifying offer. If that happens, he'd be able to walk in free agency next offseason, when there will be a lot more money to spend from teams. ESPN's Anthony Slater provided an update on the Kuminga situation and how he feels about everything. He's, Kuminga, pretty dug in. If this is going to be the best offer, if 2 for $45 million with a team option is going to be the best offer, he will see them in training camp on a $7.9 million expiring qualifying offer which includes a no-trade clause. Slater believes Kuminga just wants control over his future if the Warriors aren't going to value him, and Steve Kerr has shown through actions and his rotation decision that he doesn't value Kuminga as a meaningful part of the rotation, even with him nearly averaging 21 ppg against the Minnesota Timberwolves in the playoffs. Kuminga firmly believes he's a player who can earn $30 million per year, but that would be easier to earn next offseason. Slater also believes that a player option instead of a team option could get the deal done, but the Warriors want him on the most tradable contract possible. A sign-and-trade is still a possibility, but unlikely. Slater also reported that the team could always re-engage in sign-and-trade conversations if these negotiations with Kuminga continue to not go anywhere. They've reportedly turned down deals from the Sacramento Kings and Phoenix Suns, as the Warriors felt they weren't getting enough value. Another thing complicating matters is that the Warriors don't want to include Moses Moody or Buddy Hield in a sign-and-trade, something they'd almost have to do in any scenario. People have also talked about the Warriors' interest in Chicago Bulls restricted free agent Josh Giddey and whether a dual sign-and-trade can be done, but that's nearly impossible. Generating a sign-and-trade for one restricted free agent is hard enough, it's even harder with a restricted free agent on both sides. Jonathan Kuminga must accept a cold hard truth to make any progress with Warriors. This is the unfortunate reality. As the Golden State Warriors have sought out a resolution to their standoff with restricted free agent Jonathan Kuminga, the two sides have come to an impasse over which party will have more leverage in a potential short-term, tradable deal. Yet, as reported by Anthony Slater on NBA Today, Kuminga is seeking a deal that signifies faith in him as a building block of the organization, and, in order to make any progress, Kuminga must accept the fact that the team views him as a trade asset. Given his questionable fit within the team's starting lineup, a long-term deal for Kuminga is unlikely, and the young forward is better off welcoming a trade that will send him to a new home with a better fit for his skill set. Kuminga must accept the fact that he is a trade asset for the Warriors. Entering the offseason, it was initially thought that the Warriors would aggressively pursue a sign-and-trade for Kuminga this offseason, looking to retrieve value for their prime asset. Yet, as interest around the league waned, the two sides have come closer to a resolution on a 2-year deal with an annual value around $20 million, an agreement that would allow the organization to move Kuminga in the near future. However, the two sides have come to a disagreement over whether the deal will include a team or a player option after the first year. Kuminga, who has felt undervalued by the organization for most of his career to this point, is seeking a player option in order to signify some sort of faith in his abilities and his value. According to Slater, the impasse is a result of the fact that Kuminga wants more of a player-friendly deal, more of a signal that he's a building block, not a trade asset. Yet, at this point in his tenure with the organization, it has become clear that the unfortunate reality is that Kuminga is not a building block. His lack of a perimeter shot and general unwillingness to play a more defensive and rebounding-centric role makes it nearly impossible to play him alongside Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green. At the same time, however, his dynamic scoring ability could convince a team to take a swing on the 22-year-old, granting him the runway and ability to realize his potential that he has publicly longed for. In order for the two sides to come any closer to ending their standoff, Kuminga must accept the hand he has been dealt, perhaps taking on a more team-friendly deal that will allow him to be utilized as a trade asset. While this is certainly unfortunate for Kuminga, it is the only way that both sides will find the resolution they have been seeking. Stephen Curry names two NBA legends as his dream 3v3 teammates. Stephen Curry has never been shy about mixing respect for basketball's past with his own modern flair, and his latest comments on a dream 3-on-3 team prove just that. In a recent sit-down with ABC 7 News Bay Area, Curry was asked which player from the past he would like to team up with in a playground-style game. His response turned into something bigger than expected, not just one name, but two legends who helped define eras of basketball, Allen Iverson and Magic Johnson. Allen Iverson, that's the first name poked in for sure. Probably Magic. You put me, Magic and I think that'd be a solid 3-on-3 team. Without hesitation, Curry said the first player that came to mind was Allen Iverson. The 2001 MVP is one of the most influential guards in NBA history, someone who changed the culture of basketball with his fearless play and streetball mentality. Iverson's ability to break down defenses with his crossover and attack the rim despite being only 6 feet tall inspired countless players, Curry included. For Curry, who has built his career on shifting the game in his own way, Iverson's presence in a dream lineup makes perfect sense. Yet Iverson was known more for scoring than defense. Though he led the league in steals 3 times, much of that came from gambling in the passing lanes rather than locking down opponents one-on-one. Still, his offensive brilliance in a 3-on-3 setting would make him a constant mismatch. After choosing Iverson, Curry's wheels kept turning. Magic Johnson's 6'9" frame and otherworldly vision made him one of the most unique point guards the game has ever seen. A 5-time NBA champion and 3-time MVP, Magic thrived on elevating teammates and making everyone around him better. In a smaller, half-court format like 3-on-3, his ability to control tempo and create easy buckets would be invaluable. Pairing Magic's playmaking with Curry's outside shooting and Iverson's attacking ability would guarantee endless highlight plays. What's interesting about Curry's picks is that both of his teammates are guards, with Magic doubling as a bigger playmaker rather than a traditional forward or center. Curry bypassed the obvious choice of adding a dominant big man like Shaquille O'Neal or even a do-it-all wing like Michael Jordan. That decision reflects today's NBA trend: prioritize offense above all. Put simply, a 3-man lineup of Curry, Iverson, and Magic would be must-see basketball. Curry stretching the floor with his limitless range, Iverson attacking defenders off the dribble, and Magic orchestrating the offense with dazzling no-look passes would create chaos for opponents. Defensively, they might struggle, but Curry doesn't believe it would matter. In the end, his dream trio isn't about positional balance or defensive prowess. It's about creating the ultimate playground team, 3 icons from different eras whose styles would mesh into a firestorm of skill, flair, and highlight reels. It's the type of answer only Steph Curry would give, blending respect for history with the scoring punch of today's game.